I don't exactly have an intro for this video. Hello there. Today we're going to be making a The Amazing Digital Circus OC. For anyone new here, hi, my name is Uni and I like to yap and draw about the things that I enjoy. One of those things happened to be about the Amazing Digital Circus. Now, I'm not a TADC veteran as I didn't start watching the Amazing Digital Circus until after episode 2 had come out. Before then, it didn't even show up on my recommendations page at all, which I'm kind of surprised by because for a show this big, I really thought that it would have shown up on my recommendations page, but I guess it didn't. And it only happened after episode 2. When I did watch the show for the first time, however, I instantly fell in love. The characters, the story, the backgrounds, everything. But out of all those things, my top number one favorite thing about the Digital Circus probably has to be the characters. Maybe it's because I'm an artist, but the thing I really love the most about the Digital Circus characters are their designs. I just really love how unique each and every single one of the characters' designs are. And look, if Gooseworks ever decides to scrap all of the current character designs and replace them with new ones in the future, I would not care because the Digital Circus character designs eat 10 out of 10. I would gobble that meat straight up. Moving on. Because I was so fascinated by the Digital Circus character designs, I wondered, what if I made my own Digital Circus character?
This is so heavy.
I think what really pushed me to create this OC Sona for the Digital Circus Universe probably had to be because of the fact that I saw so many OCs for the Digital Circus Universe on social media. And I'm here to tell you, don't become an artist unless you want to get distracted by other people's OC and then you end up making your own and spending hours and hours upon hours just to create your own OC, only to realize maybe you should have been doing more productive things. Yeah.
The design.
For the design of the Sona, I was really inspired by Aerofrutiger / aquarium / fish stuff, if that makes sense. I'm not exactly too sure as to where the Aerofrutiger / aquarium / fish stuff came from. It's been so long since I've created the Sona, guys. I literally have forgotten practically everything about the Sona. Whoops! Okay, now to the actual design.
The actual design.
For my head, I decided that my head would be a baby water mat. You know those baby water mats that were trending on like TikTok and Instagram a couple years ago? Those. I don't know. For some reason, I find those baby water mats really cute. I saw a bunch of people get them for their pets as well, which I thought was so adorable. But I would be kind of scared to do that if I had a pet because then I'd be scared that it would pop and burst and then they would start drinking the water. For my body, I decided to model my body after the iconic aquarium fish lamp. And guys, I want to own one of those lamps so bad, but I'm so scared of the thing exploding, because what if I'm in the middle of working on a project and all of a sudden, BAM! I know that like the newer versions don't exactly explode anymore because I think they fixed the issue, but still, you never know what happens. For my arms, I modeled my arms after those moving ships in a box. I don't exactly know how to explain it, but here's a picture of what it looks like. I find those extremely fascinating as you can shake that thing as hard as you want, but that ship never flips upside down, which is really interesting. For my legs, I decided to model my legs after those iconic jellyfish bubble tubes you see everywhere on social media because bubbles. Ooh, I love bubbles. I'm getting sidetracked, but anyways, for my feet, I decided to model my feet after the iconic Aerofrutiger fish mice that you see everywhere. And guys, I heard that at some point in time, they used to sell Pingu versions of those fish mice. I want one of those so bad. Oh my god, like Pingu? Anything Pingu is just amazing. Okay, I think I finished designing my Sona, so it's time for the final reveal. Ready? Ta-da! What is that? Hold on, let me just... Hello? Artist Uni, are you in there? I asked for a finalized version of the Sona. Why'd you give me this one? What? You don't have one? Well then, what am I supposed to show the audience? Huh? You made a full piece to show off the Sona instead. Huh. You know what? That's even better. Thanks, Artist Uni! Okay, now that we got my Sona's design aside, it is now time to talk about the things I love about the Amazing Digital Circus. And the first thing is the story. I personally really love mixed shows like Spy Family and the Amazing Digital Circus because these types of shows have lore, but it's not so fully lore focused to a point where you're scrambling all across different social media sites just to try and find a drop, a sliver of extra lore that you may or may not have missed. That's why I find things such as Alien Stage uninteresting to me, not because the show's uninteresting, but simply because of the fact that I really don't want to have to look through 50 different Twitter posts just to find the lore of a single character. It takes way too much time. I personally feel like things such as a character's backstory, especially if they're a main character, should be explained in the actual show. But other things such as a character's favorite color, maybe their family members or their favorite food, those can be explained in like Twitter posts or whatever. I don't care about that. But when it comes to important details of a specific character, I really do think that those should be explained in the show instead of having the viewers look for it themselves. The second thing I really love about the Amazing Digital Circus is something I already mentioned earlier, but it's the characters and the background design. I personally really love using colors in my drawings. I like to use as many colors as possible, but not too much to a point to where it's kind of overstimulating in a way. But I think the Amazing Digital Circus is great simply because they just use a lot of colors. I love colors. Yay! And finally, the third and last thing I love about the Amazing Digital Circus is the fan art. I don't know how you fan artists are doing this, the AU artists, the ship artists, the regular artists, you guys are cooking so hard. Every time I've come across the Amazing Digital Circus fan art, it always eats 10 out of 10. Before I get into the things that I dislike about the Amazing Digital Circus, it is now time to talk about the poses that I chose for this drawing.
Help me, Kane.
For this drawing, I decided to make my Sona pose with all of the different characters in the Amazing Digital Circuit. To make things a little bit easier for myself, I decided to split all the characters into smaller groups. Gangle and Zooble are in one group, Ragatha and Pomni are in one group, Kane and Bubble are in one group, and Kinger and Jax are all alone by themselves. For Gangle and Zooble, I decided to make my OC Sona pose with Gangle and Zooble and make it look like they took a picture together. For Ragatha and Pomni, I decided to make my Sona have a picnic with them because I think I was thinking of Ragatha more than Pomni, and because of this, that's probably why the picnic idea came into mind, and I didn't really want to leave Ragatha with my Sona alone, so because of it, that's why Ragatha and Pomni are together. To sum things up, there is no particular reason as to why Ragatha and Pomni are together. For Kinger, all I could think about was bugs, so because of this, I decided to make my Sona and Kinger look at insects together in his little pillow fort. For Kane and Bubble, I decided to do the same thing that I did with Gangle and Zooble and make them take a picture. However, I thought that just taking a regular picture was kind of boring as I already did that with Gangle and Zooble, so I turned it into a silly picture. And yes, Bubble's design is a reference to episode 5 when he goes, "Wah." Hi, it's Editing Uni here, and I just realized this while I was editing this, but what the heck happened to Kane's eyes? Oh my god, his eyes are way smaller than what it's supposed to be. I personally think it adds a lot of charm to the drawing and it makes it a whole lot funnier, but I can't even look at this drawing anymore without focusing on Kane's eyes and bursting out laughing. But just to let you know, I think Kane's eyes were supposed to be a lot bigger, but I guess I didn't realize that while I was drawing, so his eyes turned out a lot smaller than it was supposed to be. Back to the video. Okay, it is now time to talk about the things that I dislike about the Amazing Digital Circus. And personally, I only have one thing that I truly dislike about this show, which is the fandom. One thing I really noticed about the Digital Circus fandom is that there are a lot of young people in this fandom. And look, I have nothing against younger people, it's just that when you have a bunch of younger people in your fandom, not gonna lie, there's a lot of interesting controversies that end up happening. One of the most recent ones that I can think of off the top of my head is the fact that so many people got mad over the fact that Jax and Pomni were considered the main characters of the show, which, guys, Jax and Pomni being the main characters of the show has been hinted, if not shown, throughout this entire show. Episode 6 pretty much proves this point. This kind of ties into the second thing I dislike about this fandom, which I feel like this happens in every single fandom, but guys, when you see art that you dislike, or a ship that you dislike, or just anything that you dislike, just scroll past the video. I don't know why so many people feel like they feel the need to comment, I hate comment under something they dislike. when you see something you dislike, scroll past the video, click not interested, and if you really feel like it, block the person. This is why so many ridiculous controversies happen in this fandom, because half of the time, it's just people in the comment section commenting, I hate this ship, or I hate this, I hate that. If you don't like the thing, just scroll past it, so that way, ridiculous controversies like these do not happen. But then again, I'm just another random artist on the internet. There's really nothing I could do about this, except hope and pray for the best. Okay, I think things are starting to get a little bit negative, so it's now time to talk about my favorite characters in the amazing Digital Circus. And the first character is Kane. I really like Kane because he's such a sweet little guy. He's just trying to understand humans, and it's so adorable. But at the same time, whatever you're doing in episode 8, it has not released at the time of recording this video. Whatever you're doing in episode 8 is evil. 0 out of 10 behavior. Character that I really like from this show is Zubul. I'm not exactly sure as to why I love her so much. She's just really cool. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I love colors. Yay! Okay, I think I yapped enough for this video. Originally, this video was supposed to be a lot more polished. However, it is currently very hot as I'm recording this video, and I am dying. Not literally, of course, but still, I am dying as I'm recording this video, and I don't think I can go on any longer. So if this video feels a little bit out of place, this is why. I am currently dying under the heat. But pushing that aside, it is now time to do the final reveal of this drawing. Ta-da! Here's the final reveal of this drawing. I just gotta say, I love this drawing so much, and I love this Sona so much. Oh, it is so hot as I'm recording this. Anyways, I think my favorite thing out of this entire thing probably has to be Ragatha and Pomni's, because I think I drew them so well compared to the others, as the others look a bit, I'm not gonna lie, they look a bit chopped. I think the funniest award definitely goes to Kane and Bubbles' picture because of Kane's eyes that I mentioned earlier. I can't look at this picture without looking at Kane's eyes and laughing. As for the other two, I love those a lot as well. I do kind of wish that I drew Bangle's mask a bit better and Zubul's head a bit better. And I also wish that I drew Kinger a bit better, but not gonna lie, I think this is like my second time ever drawing these characters. And not gonna lie, for a second time, this is very impressive. Very big improvement compared to... We're not gonna talk about those. Bruh, I just realized this as I was editing this. Hi, it's editor Uni again. And I just realized that I did not include Jax's drawing at all in this video. Oh my god, I messed up severely, but I do have the sketches though, so I will show you that instead. So, introducing my terrible, meepy voice acting. Hi, Pomni! Jax! But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I wish I could say more, but I'm literally, I swear to God, I am dying under this heat and I don't think I can record anymore. I really need a cool off. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one.